I'm Kulwant Singh. I'm Coach K. I am the athletic director here. I've been at the Anza 23 years, I think now. My background's in coaching, soccer, okay, and then the last 9 years I've been the athletic director. Okay, very proud athletic director. Okay, this presentation right now by me is going to be about 15 minutes, about 15-20 minutes. It's just kind of a welcome introduction, give you a little bit of overview about the athletic program. Okay, this was the meeting that you missed a week ago Monday. There was a little miscommunication as far as times and that, okay? So, and then Matt's going to come in as soon as I'm done. He's going to talk a little bit about transfer. Okay, how many of you guys want to go on and play at the next level? Okay, so the rules and regulations are different for student athletes. Okay, and he's just going to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of things that you should know, okay, if you're interested in going on, which sounds like the vast majority of you are. Okay, we have a very good, you know, one of the things I'm really proud about is that the football program has become really good, and it's become really good in my tenure here as athletic director. Okay, last 4, 5, 6 years, we've had some really good years, and we had about 15 really bad years before that. Okay, so I'm really, proud of the fact of how well the football program is doing, and I feel like, I made a little bit of a contribution also. Okay, so having said that, let's go. Let's talk just a little bit about the Anza Athletics. Go ahead. Hey, Dr. Murphy, Brian Murphy is our president. Christina Espinoza-Peeb is our vice president of instruction. They're key people in this. Dr. Murphy, I'm sure, will come by a practice. I think he came and talked to you, right? Yeah. Okay, so you already have met him, and he'll come by practice, and he'll come by games, and so will Christina. Okay, if you don't have the support at the top, at the very, very top, I mean, you're sunk. Okay, and we have that support. I mean, look at that nice facility you have now. It's taken a little while to get there, but you have a beautiful facility. There's only 2 schools in the whole state that have a video board. And we're one of them in that stadium. Okay, for a small stadium setting, it's fantastic. All right. Yeah, there's a few things missing, and a few things could be better, but you got a lot. That's the same surface as the Seattle Seahawks. It's the same, field turf, grass type, artificial grass type as the Seattle Seahawks have in their stadium. Okay. So we didn't. We spent a lot of money on the actual playing surface for you guys. Go ahead. Okay, we're a big production. How many of you are straight out of high school? Okay, the vast majority of you. It's different here. Okay, at this level it's different. Okay, 4-year level it'll be even better. Okay, but this level, we have a dean. There's myself. We have an assistant athletic director now. So I'm going to update this slide. You have 2 full-time trainers. You have an equipment person. Okay, maybe these are things that you're not used to in high school. Maybe on game day you got a trainer, okay, or limited access to a trainer, okay, where we have trainers here all day. Okay, so we have a lot of different people helping us and being part of it. Go ahead. We have 10 women's teams, okay, and these are the programs, and these are the coaches. Go ahead. Okay, we have 9 men's teams. All right, let's go ahead. Let's at the Anza. Again, we're a big production. Overall, we have about 70 coaches and staff in and around the teams. Head coaches, assistant coaches, volunteer coaches, staff. Okay, and then we're somewhere in the range of about 480 student athletes. A lot of athletes. We're one of the biggest in the state. Okay, West Valley doesn't have that. They're half of what we are. Foothills half of what we are. San Jose City's half of what we are. I mean, we have a all-sports program. And we're really proud of that fact. And it's hard to have 19 teams and all these athletes. It's really hard in this day and age with budgets and things. So again, I think, but it's nice having all these different sports and a lot of variety for the students. Go ahead. Okay. That's what the field used to look like, okay? And now you know what it looks like now. Right? And we'll get a new slide once we get an aerial shot, another aerial shot. Okay, go ahead. Okay, so August 15, these are the sports that started. Okay, we got 4 men's, 4 women's. We got about almost 300 athletes in season right now. Okay, go ahead. And when school starts, okay, second week of school, the 2 basketballs will start. So you got another almost 40 athletes, okay, have started up. Right? So we're well over 300 athletes competing now at that point. Go ahead. Hey, January comes along, winter quarter here. Hey, fall sports are done. We have 9 more programs starting. 2 basketballs are going on. We got 11 programs. Okay? So you can see there's a lot going on here all the time. Okay? We have over 200 away contests. We have over 200 home contests, during the year. All right. It's busy. Be patient with Matt, myself, the trainers. Hey, there's a lot of students. A lot of students need help. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of times, especially with Matt, you all need the help about the same time. Okay? So we try and space it out as best as we can, but it's not always possible. So sometimes you just got to be patient and kind of wait your turn. I know the training room gets a little bit busy sometimes too. Same thing there. Equipment with Pete. Doing the best he can, but sometimes it does require a little bit of waiting. We play. Go back. Okay, we're part of the 3C2A. Okay, you are part of the 3C2A. The Anza, the 18 other sports play in the Coast Conference, and you play in Northern California football. Okay. In the Coast Conference, we've been the all sports champion 19 of the last 29 years. Okay, so each of the teams, they get points. Higher they are in the standings, all the points are tabulated. We've won that 19 out of 29 years. We've won it the last 6. Okay? Unfortunately, football is not part of the equation because you're your own entity. With Northern California football. Football, the way it works is, I'm sure Coach Atencio's talked to you about it. All the A's play with all the A's, and all the B's play with all the B's, and all the C's play with all the C's. Okay, except in conference, and then you have crossover, non-conference. So that's all about how good the teams are. All right, go ahead. And again, all right, and again, you kind of see our history here. This was the very first year they kept us the standings. Right? We won it, and then you can see the since 08, 07, 08, we won it every year. And again this year, hopefully. Okay? Go ahead. Typically in a year, okay, again, almost 500 athletes there. We'll have about 5-6 All-Americans. We'll have 18 to 20 All-Californians or All-State. Okay, we'll have about 4 to 5 championships. We'll have about 7 or 8 second-place teams. And probably, again, this is from about 2 years ago. We're probably in the 1.6 million range as far as academic and athletic scholarships coming or being received by the student athletes. Okay, this group here, okay, the 480 to 500 student athletes, by far than any other group in the school, receives more scholarship money. Right? So you're very, very high achieving as far as what you do on the field, but also in the classroom, because a lot of these scholarships are not going to come about if you're just only good on the field. And if you don't do well in the classroom, then the university can't get you in a lot of times. So this, again, the student athlete population is the most successful on the campus, okay, as far as scholarships secured. And you know how many students we have on this campus, right, guys? There's 24,000 full-time, which means there's about 12,000 that are really full-time, and then the others are like half-time. So it's really like 36,000 different faces is what we have in the fall, when school starts in the fall. Somewhere in that range. I would say probably somewhere between 33 and 36, okay, which is equivalent to about 24,000 full-time equivalent students. Okay, so we're big, and this is again a very successful group. Go ahead. Okay, couple All-Americans from the past. And again, okay, let's kind of shift our focus a little bit to the school part. And I think Dr. Murphy kind of talked a little bit about the school part also. Okay, you know, you're here, Coach Atencio recruited you, or you're here on your own, okay, or somehow, hey, you're here, we want to keep you here. That's called retention and persistence. Okay? You don't want to be one and done. Season's over and you're gone. Okay? But we want to keep you here. That's called the retention. Our retention rate for all the athletes is very high, 90%. Very high. It's highest, one of the highest in the state. Okay? Transfer rate, very high. Okay? We're 85 to about 89%. Okay? As far as our transfer rate. That's, you know, a lot of you, when I ask you, you know, you want to go on, okay, we're able to do that for about 85% of our student here. Not everyone's going to continue on and play, okay, but hopefully you're going to go on and get your education. You know, if you can get your, you know, go on and get your education, you can play. That's even, you know, that's a bonus. Okay, but you know, our goal is to help you transfer, because at the end of the day, you know, you still need that 4-year degree. You know, and because even if you do make it all the way to the very top as a professional athlete, the length of your career is pretty limited. You got to do other stuff. Okay, and a degree is going to be handy in so many ways. But again, the percentages making it all the way to the professional level is pretty slim. I'm sure you guys have seen all the statistics on that. Okay, but it's about, you know, it's about getting your degree that'll help you get a quality job, and then playing sports in college here and at the university just makes your experience, your college experience, that much better. You know, meet more people and have some, you know, great stories to tell about the games and practices and that, I'm sure. Okay, GPAs. The GPAs are very high for student athletes. Okay, go ahead. Go to the next slide. Okay, we keep stats, data. Okay, the president, the senior administration. Okay, and if you look at this, okay, student athlete, and then you got non-athlete. In every ethnicity, student athlete is higher. In every ethnicity. Okay, now, guys, hey, yeah, there's some issues here. There's some differences. You know, some ethnic groups do not achieve as well academically as others, and again, you know, President Obama, from his level all the way down, okay, they're trying to address it. Okay, there is a gap, an achievement gap. Okay, so, but my point here is, overall, we're actually more successful in the classroom than the non-student. Okay, this data we have, every school in the state has, every school in the state has the same result. Now, their GPAs are not as high as ours. West Valley is not as high as ours. San Jose City certainly isn't as high as ours. Okay, and other schools. The NCAA tracks this also. They got millions of pieces of data over 20, 25 years. Okay, and they see the same thing. Okay, so don't let anyone tell you, okay, that because you're a student athlete, you're not a good student. Okay, you are a good student. Okay, can we be better? Can we do better? Yes, we can. Okay, so go ahead. Hey, typically in any given year, we have a lot of students that are 3.0 and higher. If you're not at a 3.0, okay, you're kind of holding us back a little bit. Okay, your goal is to get the highest GPA that you could possibly get, and also that you know, take good courses and that. Some of you guys have done the placement test and you've been placed maybe at a lower level of math and English. You got to get yourself up to par and into all the transfer stuff as fast as possible. Yeah, I'm sure Matt has talked to you a little bit about that. Every quarter, we average somewhere in the area of 16 student athletes that are 4.0. Okay, we have some very high achievers here. Go ahead. Okay, we have at the end of the year we have a scholar athlete recognition. Go ahead. Again, and another award we have is the 3C2A Scholar Team Award. Only one team per sport, per gender, receives this award, maybe at the end of the year. And you can see at one time, there's a year that we had a football team that did really well and won this award. We'd like to see football, back up there. Okay, go ahead. Another one of our award winners. Go ahead. another one of our very, very high achieving student athletes here. Next. Services. Hey, I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. I think in Counseling 200 it's been touched on. Maybe Matt has talked about this in the eligibility talk with you. But financial aid, there's financial aid. I always hear, if you're not sure, apply. Okay, it's not too late. Okay, they seem to have money. Okay, federal government has money. Okay, health services. We have health services here. We have counseling and advising. We have disability support. Okay, so if you think you might have a learning disability, okay, they got all kinds of support and programs there to help. Okay, assessment center. Hopefully you've all taken the English and the math test. Okay, if you haven't, you really need to do that because you've got to do that. Okay, in order to get into a lot of the courses here, you've got to have a certain level of English. Okay, we have a Office of College Life. We have clubs. We have student government. Okay, the student government here is called the Anza Associated Student Body. Okay, they will give you a lot of support. Okay, they give you a lot of support. Okay, they just bought you brand new uniforms. Okay, they provide meals for you at away games. Okay, so make sure if you ever see any of those folks, you thank them. Make sure you go get a photo ID, the ASB ID. That helps them also. Okay, because again, they help you a lot, you help them. Okay, in your own little way. All right, go ahead. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm sure your coaches, will spend time on this. But really, to be successful in the classroom, you got to be there. You got to, you got to be on time. You got to not sit in the back of the room. Hey, except a room like this, it's a little, it's not way back there. I think the closer you are to the instructor, the more in tune you are with what they're saying. Okay, the materials being presented. Okay, and it's just doing the work. You don't have to be a great student, okay, to pass your classes with good grades, okay, and then subsequently get your degree. You just got to be persistent, okay. Let your instructors know that you're a student athlete. Okay, invite them to games. Do things like that. I think it's helpful. Go ahead. All right. Again, these are things that again, I'm sure your coaching staff and coaches will be talking to you about if they have not already. This one here. Okay. Refrain from the use of profanity. You don't know who's walking by. You're in front of your locker room. You're done with practice. You're getting ready to go home. You're hanging out. You don't know who's walking down that path. Okay, the community people, the college president could be, professor could be. Be careful in that area. Okay? Use of profanity. Go ahead. And again, next. Anything on ed plans or?
No, we'll be getting those soon, so not right at this moment.
Nothing right now. Okay, paying the fees, can you just go over that one with these gentlemen here?
Yeah, I still have to talk to the cashier, but after next weekend, you got to make sure you don't have a balance on your account because you'll get dropped from your classes. So you're expected to pay after you register. So if you still have a balance after next week, you're going to get dropped from your classes. So you've got to make sure you get your balance down, or you're part of the payment program, and you're up to date with that payment program. So make sure that you're that way. Because if you get dropped from classes, it's going to be very difficult to add back into anything. You don't get back in the same classes. You have to go back to the end of the line and see what's open and things like that. So make sure everything's squared away right now.
Okay, next slide. Okay, the other thing, guys, I always mention is it's $30 for a parking permit. Buy a parking permit. Don't mess around, try and get away with it. It's a $45 ticket. If you go to San Jose State or you go to the foyer, I mean, it's like $260 a semester for a parking permit. So this is on the scale of things. This is a pretty good deal here still. Okay, just buy the permit. Don't mess around with risking parking permits or parking tickets. And then also, if you park in the neighborhood, you can get towed. Okay, so you don't want to do that either. All right, next one. Okay, but I want to tell you a quick story. Last thing, then I'll turn it over to Matt. I want to tell you a real quick story. Anyone know what this is? A plaque? Okay, it's an NCAA National Championship trophy. Okay, and I received it as a coach. Okay, and I received it about 25 years ago when I was coaching at the university level. And then after that I came here. Okay, my story is this. Okay, I was born in another country. I came here. My parents were not educated. Right? They didn't know much about school. I didn't know much about school and how it worked and all that kind of stuff. Right? I was like you. I went to community college. Hey, I played sports. I was not the greatest, but I wasn't bad either. Hey, I went to community college. Had a great experience there. I was a good student. Hey, but I kind of screwed around at first. Hey, a little bit too much soccer and maybe not enough school, and then I kind of settled in, and our team was pretty good, and got to be a little bit better student. Okay, and then I went on to the university. I went to the university. I played at the university. Okay, I became an even better student. Kind of found a major. And then continued on. I played in the community college playoffs. I was a captain on my team. I went to the NCAA playoffs. Okay, as a player. Then I was invited by the coach to stay on as an assistant. Never did I think I was going to, kind of gravitate into coaching, but I did. Okay, then I plugged away, got my degree, okay, and then I ended up doing more coaching. And again, make a long story short, okay, gave me the opportunity to be part of the team that won the national championship. Okay, later on, my education gave me the opportunity to be a coach here at the Anza and a full-time teacher here at the Anza. Okay, I have 4 state championship rings. I have a Olympic and national team gold medal. I have an NCAA ring and an NCAA national championship trophy. I've been to 15 countries or so around the world. I've been to most of the states in the United States. Paid. Not only they fly me and house me and feed me, but they pay me. Not every single time, but a lot of these. None of this would have happened if I didn't get my education. Hey, again, I love sports. I wasn't the greatest athlete, wasn't the greatest soccer player. Hey, I wasn't the greatest student, but I was persistent. Hey, that gave me opportunities that that I never dreamed of. Hey, I can do it. You can do it. You got me? Yes? Okay, it's a matter of hanging in there in school and plugging away and doing your very best on the field. And okay, I'm a believer, that it'll come together for you. Hard work, both in the classroom and on the field. Good things will happen from that. Okay, and I'm going to leave you with that. Have a really great season. I'm going to be around all the home games and a few of the away games. I've been around it last several years, and I saw a little bit of the scrimmage the other day. It looked really good. Okay, best of luck. Thank you.
Want to do double duty? Yes. Another one double last
Hey, why don't you come down for a sports?
I know you're anxious to get out to draft, out to practice and everything like that, so I'm going to talk about what probably almost everyone in this room needs to know, because I imagine when I ask how many of you want to transfer and be able to compete at a 4-year college, how many of you are going to have that goal? 90% of you, right? Okay. So there's a lot of requirements that you have to know. You don't have very much time to do your requirements. You have to do more than any other student on this campus in a shorter amount of time than any other student on this campus. Okay, and when Kulwant was talking about we have 1.6 million of athletic and academic scholarships out there. If you're not following the things I'm talking about, you're not going to get that. Okay, so the first thing that I'm just putting up here is the NCAA puts up a transfer guide It's free, so you can download this. You can Google, NCAA Transfer Guide or NCAA Transfer 101 for 2013, and you're going to get everything I'm talking about. I'm going to try to summarize it quickly. It's a lot of numbers I'm throwing at you, but get this on your own. Have it on your computer. Have it on your tablets, on your smartphones, things like that. That way you know exactly what, depending on your situation, what you need to do. All right. Go ahead and close that one out. We're not going to. I'm just showing that. So.
Yeah, close it.
Yeah, come on, Jack. Sorry.
Easy. He's my guy here. So.
Yeah, you don't understand.
Try to set it up as a.
Do the. You can get that one done, right?
Yeah,
All right, so just real quick, a lot of you probably already understand very well the levels of collegiate competition in the U.S. A little bit about community colleges. Kulwant mentioned we're in the CCCAA. There's other states that have their own associations. The NJCAA is the biggest one that covers most of the USA. Everywhere else, sorry to tell you this, offers athletic scholarships other than California. We think it's a good thing in the long run. I know you probably don't, but has everyone heard of the NAIA schools?
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys are familiar with some of these levels, so we'll go ahead and go on. That's you. There you go. The vast majority of community colleges offer some form of athletic program. Some of them don't offer football, as you know. Some of them offer different athletic programs. But just like you guys, most student athletes are looking to go on and transfer, get a scholarship. Like I said, I think I said in one of the other meetings before, at some point, your athletic careers are going to end, okay? We value athletics, we value you as student athletes, we know it's an avenue for your future, but sometimes it's going to end, and that's what we're ultimately going to be focusing on, so that you get that degree, so that you're ready to go out and get a great job, support a family, be a community member, all those sort of things, So that's what it's all about. All right, go ahead. And then the biggest thing that you'll have to be aware of when we're going over requirements, and you're going to be meeting with me, we're going to be going over these things, is that you have to understand that there's two sets of requirements. There's, well, we're going to talk about the athletic requirements that the NCAA and NAIA put out, but there's also going to be transfer requirements. And then one example is, how many units do I need to transfer to San Jose State University? 90 units, good job. UCs are the same thing. Different states may have different numbers, but there's always, every school might have some different requirements. You may have to do certain major requirements, things like that. In addition to those things, we're going to have to do the things we're going to talk about upcoming here. So, all right, next, yeah. I think that everyone has a pretty good feeling of what the Division I, II, and III levels are. Bigger schools, more exposure. Division II is a little smaller. They do offer athletic scholarships. The only big difference is in Division III, there are a lot of smaller schools. They don't offer athletic scholarships. The good thing is they can do a lot with your academics. Menlo College, even though they're NAIA right now, they used to be Division III, and sometimes they've gone back and forth. But they're a good example of a Division III kind of level. If you have a 3.0, they have part of your package, your financial package, you'll get $5,000 scholarship right off the bat. Okay, costs more than that to go there, but that's part of what they can do for you. The higher GPA, they can probably even do more than that. And that's true in a lot of like Division III type schools, small kind of schools like that. All right. Yeah. So the NCAA has what's called the Eligibility Center. Does anyone know that they're registered with the Eligibility Center? Yeah, there's probably a good chunk of you that are. If you're going to transfer to a Division I or II school, you will have to be registered with the Eligibility Center, regardless if you were eligible out of high school, because they have an amateurism section that you have to fill out in there. So that's what we talk about here. Any students going to participate at a Division I or II school will have to do that. And again, if you go to community college first, you still have to go through that NCAA Eligibility Center. If you've already done it, what's important, you want to make sure that, like, coming out of high school, if you started this process, you got to make sure you finish and send your final high school transcripts to them. I see a lot of students that never did that, and so they're in that holding pattern. So make sure if you've already started that process, make sure you've got your final high school transcripts to them. They will tell you whether you're a qualifier or a non-qualifier. We'll talk about that in a second. So Division I and II, will have to go through this process at some point. Probably the earlier the better. Okay, so I'm not going to go over this in detail. To become a qualifier, it's what you did in high school. There's nothing you can do now once you're a full-time student out of college to become a qualifier. Okay, you did it in high school. You took the 16 core courses. You had the GPA that corresponds with that, and you took the SAT or ACT and had the score. So you either already did that or you didn't. So it's okay if you didn't and you're non-qualifier. We'll get one of the big things we're going to be getting is your AA degree. But okay, go ahead. So Division I, who understands a 5-year clock pretty well? When is your 5-year clock going to start?
When you physically like sign up for classes and stuff on.
Does it? What about? Okay, what if I don't? Okay, so you're close. What if I don't? What if I play? What if I don't play football?
It still counts.
When do you know the exact day of when your 5-year clock starts? Good, perfect. Right on. So September 23rd. If you've never been a full-time student yet, and you're playing this year as a full-time student, your 5-year clock for Division I is gonna start. There's almost no way to stop that Division I clock. Okay, Division I, it's considered overall the highest level of competition, generally speaking, but it also has the most stringent academic requirements. If that's your goal, if you have the desire and ability to go to a Division I school, because you got to have the ability. When I say desire, here football's a part-time job. When you get to a Division I school, Division II school, it's even more of a part-time job. You're going to be at study hall, tutorial center. You're going to be committed all over the place. You won't have the life of your friends that aren't athletes that are going out and have, you'll see them. You'll think they're having a great time, but you're going to be getting a lot more out of it too. But anyway, you don't have time you have no time to screw up. You really don't for Division I. Okay, good job. It starts as soon as you go as a full-time student, and not very easy to stop the clock. Possible military service, possible religious service, missions, things like that. All right, go ahead. And then when we said that you have to get things done in this 5 years, you can't just start taking classes for whatever you want. You have to make progress towards your bachelor's degree. You should get an AA degree along the way, but we're talking about your 4-year degree. So this 40, 60, 80% rule just says you have to be making a certain percentages towards your bachelor's degree. By the end of your 2nd year, if you're doing good, making progress, if you're following one of those GE patterns they talked about in Counseling 200, like the IGETC or CSU GE, something like that, if you do that in 2 years, and then you're also doing some of your major classes, if you get your AA degree, we're going to be fine for 40%. Some of you may have to be here for 3 years, and there's some good reasons to be here for 3 years too. But the problem with that is if you're a Division I desire and ability student athlete, you're going to have to get to 60%. Community colleges are only set up to handle your first 2 years in college, 50% of your college. So getting 60% is almost impossible. Okay? So you say, well, what can I do, right? If that's your case, if you're going to be here for 3 years and you're planning to go Division I, we'll talk about going part-time later on at some point, and that way it just slows down when they say you have to reach 60%. That way you can transfer, get to the 4-year school, they can look at your transcript and say, hey, do this, this, and this fall, we're going to get to 60%. So it gives us some flexibility with that, all right? So you have to do this, otherwise they're not going to recruit you, they're not going to give you a scholarship. You have to be making progress. All right. So Division I, another big rule that came in last year, when we start talking about how many transferable units you need from the NCAA's point of view, now I'm not talking about the 90 units and things like that. I'm going to be talking about how many they say you need. You can only count 2 PE activity units, okay? So a lot of you will find out that 72 is a number you need, 72 transferable units to be eligible. You can only count 2 PE activity units. Most of you already got that this summer, right? That's it. Now, if you're a kinesiology major, you can count a little bit more, but not much. But you also have to take it in areas outside of football. You have to take like tennis, swimming, yoga. So you're not going to get much more. So don't count on your PE units. because they're not going to be able to count them anymore at all. Okay? All right. And also, that is going to be, we can't count those units into your GPA either. And you're going to find out, go ahead and go, that now the big, and we'll go over some situations, but the GPA for Division I is now a 2.5. Used to be a 2.0 for a long time, now 2.5. And again, you're going to get A's in all these PE classes, but you can only use 2 units into that GPA. All right? All right. So there's some, quickly we're going to go through some scenarios. Some of you are in different situations. I'll try not to bore you. Hang tight with me. But the bottom line is make sure that you understand there's a lot of requirements out there and it takes careful planning. If you're going to go to a Division I school, and they say 2-4, so it just means 2-year to 4-year, 2-4 transfer, and you're a qualifier, you're registered with the Eligibility Center, you have some options. You have to be here at least 1 quarter. You may be here longer. But for every full-time quarter, you're going to have to complete 12 transferable units. Okay? This phrase, 12 transferable units for every full-time term, is going to be, you're going to see this almost in every slide. Okay? So if you can make sure, like at the end of this year, make sure you get to 36 transferable units. Some of you, we have to take non-transferable English and math. That's okay. But you're going to have, we won't count that into when I'm talking about these 36 units, right? I'm not talking about eligibility. You're going to go, you got to go above eligibility at the community college level. So you got to get to 36 transferable. English 1A, statistics, history, psychology. All the classes are going to be GE, major, and transferable classes, okay? All right. And then again, we can't have no more 2 PE activity units, 2.5 GPA. All right. And then we talk about that many of us are in the situation where we're not qualifiers. We didn't take the SAT in high school. We didn't take the core courses. Not a problem. You're going to have to be here at least 4 quarters now, okay? But to get your AA degree, which you're going to have to do, to do it in 4 quarters is pretty much impossible, okay? So it's going to take 2 years. And doing it in 2 years, you have no time to screw up. You really don't. Okay? You're going to have to be here in the summer. In the off season, we're going to have to probably look at, maybe taking 1 extra class here and there, kind of a thing. This is what you want. If this is important to you, it's a lot of work. It'll be worth it. It's an achievement that you'll be proud of. It's a lot of work. Again, 2.5 GPA, and then you'll need the 72 transferable quarter units. The other thing that you're going to need as well, that's a newer one, that's been around a year now, but you have to complete 2 transferable English classes, like English 1A, English 1B, or English 1A and English 2. 1 transferable math, and also 1 transferable science class. That's included in those 72. Again, if we're getting your AA degree, we're going to make sure you're doing that as part of the whole thing. Okay? And again, no more than 2 PE activity units. All right. Division 2 and 3. So Division 2 is a little more lax than Division 1, but next year they don't have that progress, the 40, 60, 80. Next year they're going to start adding that in. Okay, you'll probably be grandfathered into some of that stuff, meaning you may not have to follow that. But things are getting tougher for a student athlete. Okay, unfortunately, the success rates of community college student athletes at the 4-year school isn't good compared to the students that start there. Okay, when you look at their graduation rates and all that. So that's why we see these numbers going up, the 2.5 GPA. They're saying that, hey, we're not getting these kids through. So instead of looking at other options of helping you be successful, they're just saying raise the requirements, which a lot of us don't agree with, but we have to live with. And so do you. Okay, Division 3 is a lot less stringent. Okay, real quick, we talked about the 5-year clock for Division 1, right? It does not stop, it rolls. How can I stop my Division 2 clock? Does anybody know? Or does anyone know how the Division 2 clock is different? You can read real fast. Go ahead, Dan.
15 full-time quarterly.
Yeah, so what does that mean? So how can I stop my Division 2 clock? How do I stop?
We're not a full-time student.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's say maybe you have to go and work for a year. Something happens, your family, whatever. You're not a full-time student. You're not using any time off your athletic clock. Remember, we said 5 years, so you have 4 years to compete in 5 years at a 4-year school. How many, 5 years, we said the 15 quarter, right? How many quarters are an academic year? It's not what you think. It's not 4, even though it sounds like it should be 4. It's not 2 either, it's 3, yeah. It's 3. It's fall, winter, spring. Summer is more of a term, it's not a full quarter. You can't take the full amount of units in the summer, so it's not considered one of those. So when we say 15 quarters, that's the same as 5 years if you're going full-time the whole way through, right? So we can preserve time if needed on your Division II clock. And I should say that, you know, realistically, of our student athletes here, the 480 and all that, obviously we're all not Division I, right? If we were, then we'd be a powerhouse among powerhouses. We'd be incredible, right? We are incredible, but it'd be even more so. So there's so many opportunities in Division II and NAIA for scholarships that you need to keep your mind open and options open, okay? Division III, the basic eligibility rule of Division III is that you just had to be eligible at your last school to be eligible at the Division III school. So if you're doing 36 units a year, you should be in good shape for Division III. All right. Yeah, so Division II, 2-4 transfer, you're a qualifier. Basically the same thing. You just need 12 transferable units for every full-time term you're there. Right now it's a 2.0. Next year it's going to be a 2.3 at Division II. All right. And if you're a non-qualifier, don't worry about partial, but non-qualifier, you'll have to be here for at least a year and then get your AA degree. It's gonna, if you don't have units coming in, it's going to take you longer than a year. But the minimums are what they're giving you there. Or we can average 12 transferable units for every full-time term. We get that term again. And then, but you also would have to do 2 transferable English, 1 transferable math. Whatever you do, we want to get to 2 transferable English, 1 transferable math. Even though you don't need it in this case, get that transferable science. It's all it's going to be part of your AA degree anyways. All right. So who's gone to a 4-year school before they came to the Anza? Nobody in here? So it's only just all true, well, it's almost true freshmen, okay. If nobody here has gone to a 4-year school, there's certain, if you did go to a 4-year school before you came to De Anza, you're what's called the 424 transfer, and basically you have to get your AA degree. So I'm going to go ahead and go through that one, go to the next couple ones, if no one's a 424 transfer. This won't apply to you. That's good there. So NAIA, basically, if you follow Division II rules, you're going to be fine for NAIA. So that's the goal. Getting that AA degree in 2 years, you're going to be fine for all of these things, basically. Okay, that's going to take care of everything. They have a rule that says in the last 3 quarters you go full time. You do have to complete 36 units. You have to be careful of this one because if say you're here for 3 years and you finish all your requirements and you end up kind of just slacking off, this has bitten a few people in the butt basically because they didn't get the 36 units in their last year because they figured, oh, I'm done, I don't really have to focus on this, and all of a sudden they don't have the 36 units, even though they have, doesn't matter how many units you have before that. So always make sure you're making progress. 2.0 GPA. Yeah, that's a basic rule. That's good enough for right now. And then you have to make, just like between seasons here, you have to do 36 units. Same idea with an NAIA, so you're going to have 36 units that are going there. And then 72 units, basically 36 each year for an NAIA school. Okay, go ahead and go. Just to give you a quick idea of the CSUs, unfortunately, there's very few CSUs that do offer football right now. Fresno State, San Jose State, Humboldt State, which is Division II. So anyway, there's not, over the last several years, a lot of football programs have dropped it, unfortunately. So, but anyway, just to give you an idea of the level they play at. I think every football program other than Humboldt is Division I in the CSUs. Am I right or wrong?
Does what?
What's the other division? So I said every football CSU school is Division I other than Humboldt State, which is Division II. So I think that's right. Sac State, San Diego State, San Jose State, Division I programs. All right. UCs, they're all Division I except for San Diego and Santa Cruz. San Diego does have football, so they're Division II program. Some of those don't. Private, some local and private schools within California. Stanford's obviously Division I, Menlo College, NAIA, University of San Diego, Division I program, football. So anyway, just to get an idea. And then real quick, just when you go through this process, okay, your coaches are going to be involved in your recruiting process, okay? But you've got to also step up, and you want the opportunities, you want to be where you feel comfortable. Academically, you want to make sure they have your major. You want to be in a place that you're going to succeed and that you like. And again, socially is equally as important. You're in a comfortable place with people that you feel good with, you know? And regionally, like if you don't like the beach or you don't want to be near the beach and you're for the country, you don't want to go down to some of the LA schools and things like that. You want to be where you're comfortable. This is your future, you know? Athletically, you need to make sure it's a good fit for you. And again, that's something that you'll work with your coaches on. Okay. The biggest thing that happens, I think I emphasized this before, is that the first question that we get asked is, "What's your GPA?" Not so much your SAT scores here, but what's your GPA? How many units you've completed? When I fax over or email your unofficial transcripts, if they look at that and it doesn't fit into their school, you can be an All-American and they're going to have to pass over you. Okay? The days of just taking anyone and taking a chance on someone that they're going to be successful at their school are long gone. Coaches are now they can lose scholarships if their student athletes don't graduate within that the 5 to 6 year window kind of a thing. They'll lose their job if that continues to happen. So they're not going to recruit a student athlete that isn't going to be successful, that they can't see on a piece of paper that's going to be successful at their school. You've got to make that piece of paper look good. Okay, got to do that. But they do ask all these questions. Are you a good citizen? You know, are you a hard worker? And coaches and myself, we're going to be honest out there because number one, we want that coach to recruit more students from here. And it's our reputation at stake. And they're going to figure it out anyway. So you want to be able to make us answer these questions the way you want it to be. Okay? Again, AA degree will take care of most of your issues. Basically, it'll give us the most opportunities. The higher GPA you have, more likely, more options you're going to have, especially possible athletic scholarships, academic scholarships, things like that. That piece of paper says a 3.5 GPA, and they're looking at you and another student athlete. That other one's a 2.6. You're in. Okay, AA degree we talked about. And that's all I have. What question? Any questions? Now's a good time to ask some. I know you're bored and everything like that. So. Hopefully you all know you have my contact information. If not, you all know where my office is. If this is what you want to do, it starts now. It starts in a few weeks. Get your books. Be prepared. I can't emphasize this enough. You got to be on it from day one. Okay? Thanks for your time, guys.